father gotta do? What?
Welcome guys, it's your boy Japanese Tutor. And we're back at it again with another Dutch video. And we're going to do some lessons with the Dutch, the Stonewall Dutch. Now we're going to go right into it. Game 20. This is by Alexander Belyavsky. Belyavsky, yeah. And Artur Yusupov. All right, so let's kick it off. Let's just go right into it. D4, E6. Remember, this is the preferred move order. You have to be comfortable playing the French as well because I can play E4. So E6, C4, F5. And I like this move order because it's flexible. You're not telling them what they're going to do until you play F5. C4, F5, G3, Knight F6, Bishop G2, D5, Knight F3. This is yet another example, this is what he says in the text, of two top players ignoring the Knight H3 option. However, the advantages of Knight H3 instead of Knight F3 were not fully appreciated 20 years ago. So C6, castles. Then we play Bishop D6, Bishop F4, Bishop captures F4, G captures F4, castles. E3. Belyavsky has been very important for the development of the Bishop F4 line. So he contributed some theory in this line. Pretty cool, no? This is White's most popular move. Next ranking are Knight C3 and Queen C2, which are covered later on. So Knight BD7. I had a game recently that kind of transpired like this, but he played in after Queen C2. He played Knight E5, and I just followed the regular plan, and I had a really, really good position. So this works, guys. The choice between this and Knight E4 is mainly a matter of taste, as it usually transpose. And then they say that instead of Knight BD7, that Bishop D7 is a more direct approach, which has been used by very strong players. And the practical problem is that Queen B3, Queen B6 offers Black very little winning chances. So, okay, Knight BD7. Queen to E2. Whoa, not C2 this game, but E2. Not C2, but E2. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see what he has to say about this. This can amount to a wasted tempo if White now plays Knight D2. And Black decides to exchange on D2. More popular moves are Knight E5. Yep, I saw Knight E5 in one of my games, the one I was just talking about. And the main line, Knight BD2, which shall be covered in the subsequent games. King H8. Great. So I was playing exactly how it is. So it says B6 becomes a little bit more tempting with the queen on the A6 F1 diagonal because they don't have access to this over here. And they can't punish this or this because now we have this, right? We have the bishop coming to A6 in some lines. And another alternative is Knight E4. But King H8 is what he recommended last, and it just makes sense. The only place that we have play is really on in this line, right? This line, maybe this break, and here. And a lot of this is facing here already, right? Our knights are coming this way. So it just makes sense to play along the G file. Knight C3. This game should be studied in connection with the games happening in our next lesson. Okay, guys? So not this lesson, but this game should be studied in conjunction with the next lesson's games as well. Queen to E7. Okay? King to H1. rook g8. Black prepares g5, or the g5 lever, and doesn't hurry to put a knight on e4. We shall meet this strategy again, but sometimes you want your queen on c2 rather than e2. e2, you might waste a tempo even going back. So c captures d5, e captures d5, bishop h3, attacking the pawn, knight g4. This proves a surprisingly stable position for the knight. And if instead, knight b6, and then they're going to play on knight b6, they say that rook g1, rook g1 is actually pretty good. And basically it's just rook g1, bishop e6, and it's about equal. So, bam, bam, knight g4. After knight g4, rook g1, knight d to f6. I'm liking this already. I'm already liking this kind of play. Knight d to f6, rook g2, bishop e6, potentially going this way. Rook a to g1, landing up over here. Rook a to f8. All of our play is going to be on this side. And then a, what? No way, a3? This is very interesting. Beliavsky gives this move 2 exclamation points. So not just 1, 2 exclamation marks, and claims that white has a clear advantage. That is obviously a little bit too optimistic. I don't think a3 is that good. It doesn't really do much, but okay, so it does do a lot. a3 here is very nice. Maybe we have some stuff like this. Maybe we prevent the queen from coming to b4, and that's really good. Now they have to come over here, and that's 2 moves that we have as well. Okay, and current analysis says that it's totally equal. White's plan is b4 and a minority attack, but that hardly looks decisive. And a minority attack is basically where you attack with where you have less pawns. Okay, and does anybody have any questions? And I think not. Hey, what's up, Kate? How are you, Space? a3, clear advantage. Exactly, I know. What's your question? Let me know. And if you guys on Chess TV have any questions, let me know. Take care. And we're going to go off to bishop d7. And they said that black decides not to bring his bishop, or sorry, black decides to bring his bishop around to h5. But that's not going to be the best plan. Maybe knight h6 was a little bit better. Knight h6, knight f7, knight d6, knight c4 was the best plan. And it should be okay. Okay, here we go. b4. So he played bishop d7, b4. Bishop e8, swinging over to h5. Bishop captures g4, and then they say knight captures g4 is a little bit dubious. Black should have definitely played this move to open up the b1, h7 diagonal. Okay. And that's what we should play for. Now we can go over here. We can play even here. Now our knight looks beautiful over here. If our knight can get there, that would be amazing. So maybe a plan might be bam, bam, put a knight here, maybe transfer over. The knight sits nice here, but we can always kick it off with b6. Although c6 might be a target, he has to do a lot of moves and maneuvering after. But okay, nonetheless, they play knight captures g4. Rook g3. Bishop h5. Queen b2. Knight f6. Knight e5. Holding here. Knight g4. Okay. f3. Knight captures e5. Also, they note that knight captures e3 loses. And I'll give you guys at home a little time to figure this out. Why does it lose? Pause the video now if you want to figure it out by yourself. And we're good. The reason that it loses, and this is what the book provides, is that queen to e2. Knight c4. Hello. Knight g6 check. We're attacking here, and give me the queen. We're now attacking the knight. The knight has nowhere to retreat. If he retreats here, well, we can do two things. We can either go here, or we can play this knight g6 check, whichever one you want. And we'll either we're taking two pieces here, or we're taking the queen. All right. So knight captures e5. D captures on e5. h6. It's not looking too good right now for black. Knight to e2. Very good move. Now, coming over here, and this is a really, really solid point. This is called an outpost, guys. And basically, the knight just looks here, and it cannot be kicked off by a pawn because your pawn's protecting it, and you even have reinforcements. So very, very nice find. Knowing that the knight here is not doing anything, but the knight here might do something. Also, this line might become available. And the only blockade that can happen is on this square, and the knight would control it. So very, very nice. Knight e2, b6. So b6 I think is a little bit premature because he hasn't even put his knight here yet. But okay, nonetheless. Black must have hoped to become active by a queenside pawn expansion, but this creates weaknesses that white can exploit immediately. All right, knight d4, yeah. c5. Knight b5. Not even taking, just saying, hey, everything's weak in your camp. King to h7. Let's say we don't. Let's say we play like a regular move like this. What happens? We just come into your house. And we're not knocking on any doors. We're not asking for permission. We're just in your house. This knight is an octopus here. Look at this. Controlling all of your territory. Very nice. Very, very nice knight. All right. Knight b5. King h7. Knight d6, g5. So this person is just desperate for counterplay, and I don't think they're getting it. Oh. Okay, I didn't read this before, but this is actually kind of funny. So the book says black is desperate for counterplay, but this only weakens his position further. So kind of funny. I guess it's that real recognizes real kind of thing. Queen c2. Obviously, we're attacking everything, and you just have to defend. You have to say how you're going to defend everything. Queen e6. Protecting here. Rook h3. And this is now pinned. Rook h3. Queen g6. Holding. Now the queen seems a little bit overworked. So queen g6. F captures G5, H captures G5, and then E6. This wins by force. As does B captures C5, and on a few other moves. The pawn is supported by the monster knight on D6, and it will support a deadly intrusion of white's pieces. So King H6, Knight F7 check, Rook captures, E captures, Queen captures, B captures C5, B captures C5, Queen captures C5, Rook G6. It looks very hopeless for black here. Rook G6, Queen to D4, trying to exploit this line here. Like, let's say they play a nothing move, then we can just play here, 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 take, and we're winning the house. We could even do something like this. This is absolutely winning. Like, take and then take. All right, so Queen D4, and we'll see how it ends. Rook to G8, Rook C1, Queen E6, Rook to G3, G4, Queen F4 check, and that is GG. That is game. He resigned. Yeah, white is getting pulverized here. Definitely space. Yeah, what do you guys think? This is amazing stuff here. But this is what not to do. So I actually like that the book gives us games where black loses. Because if it's only where where black is winning, then it doesn't really show us the reality of that opening. Give us plans for both sides, give us what they're going for, and now we know what to avoid. With clear examples of what's going to happen if we play the wrong move, or if we play the wrong plan. All right, so we got this guy, Tiger Hilarperson versus Victor Moskalenko in Barcelona 2003. All right, so D4, E6. And we've seen Moskalenko before. Sorry. Knight F3, F5. G3, Knight F6, Bishop G2. D5, C4, and we know to play C6. Castles, Bishop D6, Bishop F4, takes, and castles. On castles, E3, Knight BD7, Knight BD2, which is the main line, and Knight E4. And obviously you can play the other move first, like Knight E4. Like, you can play this first. All right. And then play here, and you're fine. All right, so it's the same position. You just reach it with a different move order. All right, and now white plays B4. I think A5 was a method that they prescribed in other lines. I'm not sure about this line. Let's see what happens. This ambitious move is relatively rare, but quite logical, as the queen side is the only place white can expand without creating weaknesses in his own camp. His more popular alternatives are Rook C1, Queen C2, and Knight captures E4. So knight d to f6. Knight d to f6 is what he played. Another interesting alternative is h6. Thank you so much for following. I really appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, and we have to kind of think to ourselves, what is he going for? So I think just a5 might be a really, really good option. Just whenever I see this pawn here and this kind of like setup, I feel like a5 is a natural. Like, okay, tell me what you're doing. Are you pushing? Are you protecting it? Let me know. That way I can kind of decide what's happening and kind of take control of the game. I don't want my opponent to take too much control. I like to be the one who's deciding things. That's either here nor there. Knight d to f6, knight e5, knight captures d2. Moskalenko initiates the common plan of exchanging all the knights. Queen captures d2, knight g4. They give a note that if knight e4 question mark, bishop captures, f captures, f3, e captures f3, rook captures f3, bishop d7, rook g3, queen e7, king h1, rook ac8, rook ag1, and this illustrates that black should avoid this variation. White's knight is clearly stronger than black's bishop, and white has good use of the open g file. This looks amazing for white. So let's not go into that variation, guys. So, oops. I went back into the last game. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so knight g4 here. Sorry. So not knight e4 here, but knight g4 here. So knight g4 and b5. Bishop d7. Knight captures e5, d captures e5. And then d captures c4, queen b4. Queen b6 is a more clearer route to equality, as said in the book. All right, so bishop d7, so b5, bishop d7. B captures c6, bishop catches c6. We might be able to make use of this open line. C captures e5, bishop catches d5. Knight captures g4. Bishop catches g2. Knight h6 check. Takes. And king captures g2. Oh, and also maybe I should point out that the reason that he played, okay, on takes, right? We're going to take here, right? So we take there, and after the king takes, we're going to take, right? This is obvious. But they rather damage the pawn structure, so they have a little intermezzo move. The intermezzo is knight h6, destroying our pawns. You're going to take it anyways. At least let me make your pawn structure weak. So this is called an intermezzo. It's an in-between move. Check first, and then take. Now, these two pawns are weak. Instead of just taking and then taking. Now these pawns are strong and might be able to push. Black's kingside pawn structure is damaged, but not easy to attack, and his E and F pawns can restrain white's 4 central pawns quite well. The centralized queen and healthy queenside majority should provide black with counterplay. Queen d5 check. F3, king h8. I like it because this idea is like very common, like just king h8, rook g8. Right, king h8, king f2. Rook G8, Rook G1. Rook captures G1, Rook captures G1. Oops, Rook captures G1, Rook captures G1. Rook G8. Mosalenko considers this position equal. Rook G3. H5. Rook captures here is also possible, they said. Queen C2. White can win the H6 pawn with Rook H3, but it's hardly worth the effort, and Black gets sufficient compensation. So don't do it. And they're gonna have control of the G file, so just leave your Rook there. Don't be greedy. H4. Black's extra H pawn cannot contribute much in the endgame or in the defense, so it may just as well be used to annoy White a little bit. Rook captures G8 check, King captures G8, and then King G2. Coming over here. The pawn ending is drawn, so I will blitz through the moves and let you guys see that. So King F7, A3, A6, King F2, King E7, Queen C7 check, E7, Queen C5 check, D6, King E2, B5, Queen B4, making sure that this is here. So after Queen B4, King D7, Queen captures D6, King captures D6, King D3, A5, and E4. And it was a draw. So in this next game that we're going to go over, and I'll be taking some questions right after this. In the next game, Black puts his king in the corner quite early on. This is usually preparation for the G5 lever, but here Black follows up with knight E4, leading to a knight exchange on E4. The resulting pawn structure is very important for understanding of the F4 lines, or the bishop F4 lines, and will be the theme for the rest of this entire lesson. So guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. You're that Italian guy in Japan. What is up? We're actually in the middle of a lesson, and welcome. A5, B5, exactly. I'd rather know, Space Haters, if they're playing A5, if I play A5, they play B5. Now I know they committed, so I'm probably just going to take on B5. How are you, that Italian guy? And I still owe you that call. So after this, I will go ahead and call you. Thank you so much for being in the stream. All right, so we're going to go over another game. This game was agreed to as a draw. So D4, E6. And this is by Johan Holton versus Evgeny. I'm sorry, this person's name is, I'm not gonna say it right. You can meet me after. Glazerov. D4, E6, knight F3, F5, G3, knight F6, bishop G2, D5, castles, bishop D6, C4, and remember, only when they play C4 you play C6. Bishop F4, takes, castles, E3. This is the main continuation. White can delay the pawn advance for some time, but there is not really much point in doing so unless White has plans for his queen along the third rank, and we've seen this in other lines, not so much in this line. Knight B to D7. Remember that knight E4 is the other alternative. Black plans to exchange all of the knights and transfers his bishop to H5, where it proves to be superior than the bishop on G2 because it's just hitting a rock, the D5 rock. And there's a question in here. From your comments to the previous games, I understand that you don't trust development with B6 in these positions, but how can B6 really be bad? Or how bad can it really be? And the answer, well, It may be playable, but black scores poorly in that line. We suspect black needs to concentrate on kingside play as well. White usually succeeds in taking the initiative on the queen side. However, while preparing this lesson, there was an old game that surfaced, and it showed to be that b6 is not the best try, that the lines that we're playing, the lines that we're showing or they're showing, are the best line. Another question. Why would it be easier for white to create a queenside initiative in these lines than in the b3 lines? We have already spent some lessons analyzing. And here's the answer, and this is actually a really good answer. The crucial factor is probably that white has succeeded in exchanging dark square bishops without any cumbersome preparation, and is now ready to exploit black's weak dark squares. In addition, white is helped by his ability to play b4 in one step. So instead of playing that b2, b3, b4, where it's two moves, he can just play b4 in one move, saving a move. Now he has an extra move. Okay? And the fact that his queen has easier access to the queen side without the pawn on b3, we would recommend an aggressive setup with knight e5 and knight c3, queen a4, and then rook fc1. And then white may consider c captures d5 and pushing his b pawn. So this is a plan for white that the author is giving. And if you guys want, just go ahead and review that line. Who knows? You might have developed some traps in the Dutch for me. Okay, so now they play knight bd2. All right, king h8. This is a very thematic move in these lines, usually preparing rook g8 and g5, but black more often delays it a few more moves, as queen e7 and knight e4 are a little bit more flexible. Isn't king h8 mainly a defensive move, getting the king out of the semi-open g-file before white's double his rook? I would like to answer this, no. Our king just is in the way. We're putting the king to the side. Yes, it helps the king out, but we want that rook to start attacking. Again, this is our only break. This, and this. These are our plans. We got to go for one of them, right? We have to go for one of them. This just seems to make more sense. If they totally block this side, right, maybe we can exploit it because this is very weak anyways, or we can transfer our play over to the other side because their pieces are going to be over here. But let's see what he says. It certainly can happen that white generates an attack on the g-file, but normally this results from a premature attack from black, and that rebounds. While the pawn structure, strictly speaking, does not provide black with a kingside space advantage, there is a potential for its pawns to be more mobile than white, because we're playing g5. This tendency is enhanced by white's queenside initiative, which tends to draw his pieces to that side of the board. And he gives queen c2. Hey, thank you so much for following. Since I just played this exact line, it's fresh in my mind. Oh, nice. What's up, Master Troy? All right, guys. And after queen c2, we're going to play knight e4. Knight captures d4, f captures d4, knight g5. And he says that in this kind of position, this is the most popular recapture. Black opens the f file and gains access to the f5 square. D captures e4 appears less logical. Knight g5. All right, so queen e7. Queen e7, f3. Obviously, just hitting this target. f3, h6. Telling the knight, get out of here. Here takes, and e captures f3. Rook captures f3. G captures c4. And so this is actually a little trap. Oh, we are in here. We are definitely in here. Real one bad. How are you? And Blue Abomination, thank you so much for following. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to give you a little treat. I'm going to give you guys a little treat. Some musical content while we finish up this game. And it's actually going to be pretty good because I'm going to let you guys know that I have a little documentary coming out. Okay, guys? And just be on the lookout for it. Put it in the background for you guys. And queen captures c4 is actually a mistake. 3 years later, this ended in a premature draw, but e5 is the right way to play. And a spectacular way to develop the light squared bishop. Quite frequently, this central break is a hidden point of king h8. So this is the hidden point of king h8 that sometimes we can play this little e5 maneuver. And this is amazing because here we have a little tactic. Take, 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 and hello. We're attacking the queen and we're also opening up the bishop. This is some stuff, guys. This is definitely some stuff. With white pawns on d4 and f4, it is only playable due to that tactical finesse. Rook g3. Surprisingly, and this is actually a mistake, surprisingly the position is already difficult. Black's tactical point was, he shows it right here. Knight captures e5, captures, and when bishop captures f3, bishop captures here. And that gives black a really nice advantage. These pawns are going nowhere. So, rook g3. Knight b6, attacking here. Queen c5. Queen captures c5. And actually, in the game he played this, which is not that good. He should have played instead knight a4. And after knight a4, we have some really nice lines. Let's say for here, now we can actually just knight takes here, the knight comes back away from everything, and then just a nice rook d8. Rook d8, or even simplifying and then playing rook d8, or maybe even captures here, right? But what he played was here, and after rook captures h3, knight d7, rook d1, knight captures c5, knight captures on c5, and then rook h5, which is really strong. Yeah. Hey Fragrant, what's up? It's a little bit too drawish. Well, you know what it is? The Stonewall tends to be drawish, but at the top level. Like that's like if you're playing like 2200s, 2400s, like it's really strong if you know all of the theory and you know how to punish things, because your wall doesn't have to stay still. It can become very mobile. You have g5 advances all the time, and we've seen here that it can be very explosive at times. Of course, it's not going to get as tactical as, like, let's say a Sicilian Dragon where you sacrifice pieces, but I'm giving people a repertoire either for the Dragon, which is happening, or the Stonewall Dutch. So however you want to play, either you can play solid and, you know, draw-ish, or you're going to fight for chances with the Sicilian Dragon. You pick your main weapon of choice, but either way your chess is going to improve. Actually, this is This is something somebody made for me. And I'll show you one more, guys, while we're here. And YouTube, this is a special treat for you guys as well. And this is probably going to be the documentary that we were talking about. All right, let's go. All right, rook captures c5, knight c5, h5. Okay, rook a to e8. Rook captures e5. That was a mistake. I just thought the pressure along here was very good. White should have first driven the knight away from the center with b4 and then capture with the f pawn. But rook captures e5, f captures e5, and then a5. This is now an outpost. Bishop h3, horrible. This bishop should stay here. Remember, these are top players too. So, rook f3 attacking this and this. e6. Rook captures e3. King f2. After king f2, rook e5. Rook d8 check. King h7. Rook e8. King g6. King e7. Knight e4 check. And black plans to defend his b pawn with a rook on b4 and attack the e pawn. Fair enough. The only way to stop this is by putting the bishop to f1 and cover b5. And he played the worst move, king f1, because that's how he's supposed to go here. Knight g5. Bishop g4. Rook e4. And we're going to keep attacking, although this is on pre. This is also being attacked, so we need to keep developing. Bishop e2. f4 check. King g2. b4 attacking a pawn. b3. King f6 attacking the pawn, attacking the rook. And this is defended. f6. d7. Knight captures e6. Black is 2 pawns up and normally would win easily. White's only chance is to trap the black rook. Bishop c4, trying to trap the black rook. b5, a3, b captures c4, a captures b4. This looks tough. A captures b4. c3. Whoa. You got to be careful here. c3. Rook d1. A captures b4. We have a connected passer. Wow. A catches b4. King f2. c5. King d3. Knight captures b3. King c4. Knight d2 check. And this is how it turned out. GG. GG. So we've noticed, and the main takeaway from this game is that this early king h8 actually affords us, hold on, and we're going to go back. This early king h8 actually affords us some luxuries of this. So what should he play instead? Maybe rook g3 first? But let's say even this. Now we can even protect it, right? Like, this just seems so natural to take, right? This looks so natural. It looks free. It looks just like an exchange. Your queen goes to the middle, but actually it's a mistake. Like, it's such a natural move to make. I probably would make this move. I would probably take the pawn. But you have to really consider what your opponent can do as well. And this is a great example of that. you should never take any move for granted. You have to look at all moves. All right, so that concludes the Dutch lesson. So thank you so much, YouTube, for being here. Thank you so much for the recent subscriptions and all of you guys. Thank you just for all the support. You guys are amazing. So thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one, and we're definitely getting better. Everybody's letting me know that you want more videos, and I'm producing it. So look out for the next one, guys.